What up, guys? It's me, Sarah Lee, and we're back with a new segment. So I'm gonna call it the tea time segment.
Cheese-smith time.
Cheese-smith time. Oh, we gonna have like a little mini. I underestimated my strength. It was ready ripped anyways. We have chipotle.
I got my drink. This is chipotle mania for all my Peruvians. I see you, Wendy. This is for you.
So this is what we got. I'm not gonna go into detail. Y'all know what chipotle looks like. Y'all need to see the shit. So here's what happened, right? Backstory.
So first, let's name him.
We're just gonna call him the Home Depot SoundCloud scammer. You guys will understand why later in the video. I met him back in elementary school when we were kids, right? And then we faded in middle school and whatnot. And then one fine day, on Jacqueline's birthday, you guys remember Jacqueline's birthday?
If not, go check out that video.
Yeah, it's linked somewhere up here. I was like, Jacqueline, I really just want someone to mess around with. She's like, oh yeah, do you have someone in mind? I'm like, yeah, I do actually. Like, I don't know why, but I've been thinking about him. And so I take this chance and I'm like, should we DM him? And she's like, yeah, just go for it. So he's a gym guy. He likes to like work out. I ask him, I'm like, hey, you work out, right? And he's like, yeah, what's up? He responds like hella quick, like, oh, like I want to get into drinking protein shakes. Like, what kind of protein is best for, like, you know, getting lean? And he's like, this protein, da 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 da. And then afterwards I was like, KK, thanks. And then he said, you're welcome. And then I hearted his response. And then he sent like the little emoji with like the little hearts all over your face, you know, that. And I was like,
huh? She was like, oh, what is going on here?
I was like, and she was like, if you want to be bold, send that same emoji back. So I sent that shit back and I was like, haha, we should hang out sometime. And he was like, I'm totally down. He's like, just let me know when you're free and we can work around your schedule.
Y'all gonna find out why I roll my eyes out of that.
We kind of like talked back and forth for a little bit and then we said goodnight. And he gave me his phone number and his Snapchat like right off the bat. And I was just like, oh my god, I'm winning. I'm
a winner. See my prize. You're a loser who sits and cries.
We agreed to go like to the sushi place on Sunday that week of. Sunday rolls around. I don't hear from him and I was like, okay, if I don't hear from him at all today, I'm not even gonna bother because like I'm not wasting my time on someone who obviously like makes plans and just like flakes like that. And then Monday rolls around the corner. We have each other on Snap and I post a snap of me saying, oh my god, my mom took my car to work. I don't have a car and I needed to go to IKEA to get it done. And then he hits me up. He's like, hey, do you have plans for today? And then he replies to my story and he's like, I can take you to IKEA. And then I was
my thing is the fact that he acted like y'all didn't have plans on Sunday.
He was like, oh, I can take you. And I was like, listen, like I don't have time for you to be playing with me right now, like
straight up,
or something along those lines. If you're making plans with somebody, stick it through, like, or say at least tell him, hey, I don't want to hang out with you no more.
Or be like, I can't.
Yeah,
I'm picking him up.
Yeah. He's like, nah, I'm serious. He's like, let me just do what I gotta do, like finish at the gym, do my errands, and then like I'll come get you. And I'm like, nah, let's meet up at this place because I don't let guys pick me up from my house. And he told me 3, right? He was an hour late. It was 4. I was like, okay,
that's weird.
And so we meet up at the place that I told him, and then as soon as he sees me, he gets out of the car, and I think he wanted to give me a hug, but I was just like, hey, and I immediately got into his car and I ignored him.
She said, let's go.
We head on to IKEA. We're in the car and he tells me, he basically teased me. He was like showing me music. He's like, yeah, I'll be tearing it up in the studio.
It's why he's called SoundCloud rapper.
He's basically told me he's a SoundCloud rapper, and I'm just like,
okay, listen, no, nothing against SoundCloud rappers.
Yeah,
nothing against them. But like if you're gonna be a SoundCloud rapper, at least be good. You know, rap about some good shit.
Good shit, yeah, be original. Like we're over here, like I'm over here thinking we're having like a really good time at IKEA and whatnot. We're walking around IKEA, just like looking at the little displays, talking about like, oh, this is what I want my future house to look like. And he's like, oh my god, I can totally see you in this kitchen island, like doing your own little cooking show or whatever the hell. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. So long story short, they were out of stock on my desk. We're leaving and he's like, oh, are you hungry? I'm like, yeah, are you? He's like, not really, but I could go for some drinks. And then we ended up at Cheesecake Factory. I'd never been there, so I was kind of excited. And we sit down and I order this salmon. I didn't know Cheesecake had like big ass portions. I was sitting there like, how am I gonna eat this? He starts talking, and then all of a sudden he starts telling me about like his family problems and like his mom and how he was like crying the other day or whatever, and I'm over here like this. I took 3 bites of my salmon and I couldn't do it anymore because I was like,
she said I wasn't ready.
She wasn't ready.
Notice this like with like some guys, like we go out the first time and they think I'm their therapist.
I think it's because they think you're like a good, like nice. You just,
I listen.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. And then more of the SoundCloud rapping stuff. And then eventually he's like, oh yeah, I scam big corporations too. And I'm like, sweetie, did you think this was a flex? I was just sitting there like shook, like trying to process all this information. I didn't even touch my food. But you know what I did drink? My coconut mojito, because I was stressed. I drank the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, like, he stops his like banter and he's like, so what do you like to do for fun? And I'm over here about to like, I'm like starting to talk, and all of a sudden he's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, I'll be right back. And I'm just like, okay, sure, leave me here talking about myself. And so he goes to the bathroom, and then the server comes with our check, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm over here thinking, oh, like, I'm gonna pay for half of my food. I didn't want him to pay, like, for everything. I can pay for half of my food. And then turns out, this man had looked at our server, sir. And he'd given him his debit card, and he had already paid and everything. And I'm just sitting here with my card in my hand, like,
mind you, how do I say this?
it's cute, it's genuine.
It's genuine, but like he didn't even ask. They didn't even get to dessert, and she wanted. It was the first time I'm going to Cheesecake Factory, and she didn't get her cheesecake.
He was already left me hanging, like talking about myself. Like, you were talking about your whole the whole time. That happened, and after that, he was like, "Oh, I had such a good time tonight." Da 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 da. And then we were gonna hang out the next day, but then he texted me in the middle of the night. He's like, hey, like, we're gonna have to postpone, like, something came up, I can't. And I was like, okay, cool. After that, we kept making plans to, like, we would make plans and, like, a time and where we were gonna go. But then the day of would come, and he would flake out, like, last 30 minutes, or I wouldn't hear from him the whole entire day. And I was just like, what the hell? And then there was this one time where I was gonna go to Pennsylvania.
He abandoned her.
I posted it on my Snap, and he was like, can I come with you? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, because who doesn't want to miss out on a trip to Pennsylvania? Cheesesteaks, guys.
Cheesesteaks. I was supposed to get a cheesesteak that day.
I was sad. Leave me alone. No. I was suffering. I got harassed by a guy and homeless people. I'm like, okay, I'm leaving at this time. And then at around 10 p.m., like the day before, I text him. I'm like, hey, make sure you wear something warm, just so I know that he's down, you know. And then he says something along the lines of, oh, I had a haircut appointment for tomorrow, but it's okay, I can push it to Tuesday. And I was like, all right,
I can care less.
Sure, whatever. And so the next day rolls around, and it's 7:30. I was gonna leave at 8 in the morning, and I text him. I'm like, hey, like, are you ready? Like, what's your address so I can come pick you up? I don't hear back. It's 7:50. At this point, I'm sitting in my car, and I call him. He doesn't pick up. So I was so pissed to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm going by myself. I'm leaving, and I did. I left. I made it to Delaware.
Independent women here.
I made it to Delaware, and I get a snap from him, and he's like, hey, sorry, I just got around to waking up, da 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 da. And I was like, you
didn't know you had plans the next day. Why don't you put an alarm or anything?
Tell me you don't want to go no more,
or why
you want to sleep in?
Why even say like you want to go and
invite yourself?
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Like,
exactly. How are you gonna invite yourself and not even pull and then
pull
be like,
through, or like tell me, at least let me know, hey, I don't want to go no more.
Exactly. That way she could have gotten more time to invite someone else.
I could have gone with you.
Honestly, I could have gotten my cheesesteak that day.
But then, God. Yo, that day was terrible. I got harassed by a homeless man, and I got followed by this other guy in his car for like a block straight. And I had to drink coffee because I was tired, but caffeine gives me headaches, and I basically had a migraine that day when I got home. I was so sad. I watched Ratatouille that night to make me feel better, though. Okay, so let's skip a little bit. We kept like kind of like flirting like back and forth. Like, flirting is fun. It's harmless. No, it don't hurt nobody. I went into work one day this past week. We got paid on Thursday, I believe. And I posted a snap of my check. And then he's like, my check. And I'm like, last time I checked.
Oh, no. I don't want to see you coming into work at 6 a.m. for this check.
I was like, last time I checked, I didn't have any applications for any sugar babies.
That's a good one.
So like, he was like, what the fuck? He's like, where do I apply? I'm like, I don't think you qualify, hun. And then he was all like, baby, I can give you all this sugar. And then I was like, ha, why don't we discuss it over some drinks sometime, boo? Oh. And then he was like, I would love that, with the winky emoji. And then I was like, okay, I'll let you know. He's like, okay, I'll be here. Saturday rolls around, and I'm telling my friend, I'm like, I'm gonna text him right now. I text him, I'm like, so how about them drinks for tomorrow? Sunday, right?
You gonna drink on the Lord's Day?
Sunday rolls around, and we make plans for 6:30 because he had to work.
AKA Home Depot.
Yeah, he works at Home Depot.
That's why we call him Home Depot SoundCloud
Scammer.
There you go.
It makes sense now. The name. There you go. And so 6 p.m. rolls around, and I don't hear from him. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna text him. And then right before I was gonna text him, he posted on his Snap, and it was a picture of him at a restaurant. And I was like, what are you? An idiot sandwich. Are you kidding? I was literally like, okay, yeah, this is not happening today. And I text him, and I'm like, hey, are we still down for today, right? Because he was just like on the highway, like he was like 10 minutes away. He's like, I can't, sorry. And he didn't even give me an explanation, you know. So I was just like, okay, whatever. I was like, okay. That's what I said. Okay. And then he was like, you hate me? And I was like, nah, you just be faking. And then he was like, oh baby, don't be like that. And then I was just like, ugh. When I was talking to Jacqueline, like at the park that same day, like on Monday, I was basically telling her everything that had gone down. He still wanted to be like, where you at? And then I was like, oh, I'm at Party City. And he's like, what are you doing at Party City? And I'm like, oh, I wasn't at Party City. I was at home. I just didn't want to see him. And then I'm like, oh, I'm just getting stuff for like this baby shower because my sister-in-law's pregnant. I told you guys. He was like, oh, congratulations. I'm like, yeah, I'm so excited. It's almost like it's my own kid. And he's like, you want your own kid? I can make that happen for you. And I'm just like,
sir, you can barely take care of yourself.
With your SoundCloud money?
With your
You scamming money? 20. And I'm sitting at the park with my friend, Jacqueline. And he snaps me. I was like, oh, this homeless lady keeps bothering me, right? Like, I was just joking, right? He's like, what homeless lady? I'm like, oh, this lady with a hot ass breath. He's like, asking me for money. And then he's like, you should have given her a Tic Tac. And then I'm like, nah, I told her to hit you up so you could give her one. He's like, hun, my breath always staying fresh. And like, I don't carry no Tic Tacs. And I'm like, oh, you trying to prove that theory? And he's like, where you at? I'm like, I'm at Jones Point Park. Pull up. And then all he said was, I can't. And I'm like, then why are you asking me where I'm at, bro?
Why are you fronting? Like, what's the point of that?
Exactly. Like,
what is the point of that?
Why are you?
If somebody in the comments could please explain, what exactly does that even like? What are you gonna get out of that?
And I'm just sitting there like. And so
that day, I ended up meeting with her too.
After he said that, I was like, oh, it's okay. My boo here will take care of me. And that's when she was wearing like these like
I was wearing like these baggy
jeans. Like, they kind of look like guy jeans. Like if you angle it right. Mm-hmm. So I kind of took a picture of her knee and then I sent it. And he was like, who? With like a question mark. And I was
why
like,
do you care?
I was like I said, don't worry about it. Later that night on Monday, same day, I get a text message from his number. I had already deleted our conversation because like he started texting me on Snap instead of messaging me on iMessage.
I don't get
on, and I'm like, who the hell is this? It says, where you at? And I'm like, who is this? I already had an idea of who it was. And then he's like, how many pretty-eyed crackheads do you know? And I was like, oh shit, it's Ojitos. That's his nickname because he has pretty eyes.
Ojitos? He don't deserve that name.
He doesn't deserve that. And I'm like, what's up then? And he's like, where
you at? Can you come cuddle me? And
I'm like, ooh. I was like,
he's not even your man to be asking you like, come cuddle me.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm like, I'm over here trying to get my game on, right? Because I'm laughing so hard at this point. I'm like, ooh, cuddle? Is this the same guy that said he's shy? Because he told me he was shy.
What kind of guy says to a girl, I'm shy?
And he's like the same one with this emoji. And he's like,
cuddle but don't look at me.
He's like, because I'm shy. And then I was all like, when I want to see you, you can't. And when you want to see me, I can't. He's like, just like in Twilight. He spelled it like this. I'm like, sweetie, they were together all the time. 25/8. Like, they were inseparable. Like, they never not saw each other. This is complete opposite. You fake fan. The next morning, Tuesday, he's like, good morning, where my boo at? And I'm like, she's making breakfast. And I was like, how are them dreams, Ojitos? And then he's like, tell her to come make me some. They better be if you can come make them come chew, kissy face. I was like, you gonna have to earn that breakfast. And he's like, come here so I can earn it, kissy face. My first wish is
see, but like, look, listen to this. He says, come here. He keeps saying, come here. Come here.
I'm like, where you at, boo? He's like, at my place. And he says like that big red heart. He's like, can I see you later? And I was like, maybe. And then I'm like, question here is, are you actually gonna show up? He didn't answer for a good 40 minutes. He said, I'll see you once you're done with that, because I told him I was fixing my car. That was a lie. I just didn't want to. He was like, where do you even stay, cutie? And I was like, oh, you can't come here. He's like, he's like, why? I mean, I'm just asking. And then I'm like, yeah, you can't. There's security cameras and there's people at my house. And then I'm like, you don't have nosy and kind of strict parents. It's tough out here. And then he's like, it's okay. I'll be your Prince Charming. And then he was talking about some like movies are opening up back soon. Like we should go watch one. I was like, I don't know. Tell me why we haven't gone to the movies. And he's like, because you're on games. Motherfucker, games? Me? Do I look like the Backstreet Boys to you? And then I said this. I was like, I told you not to make me laugh. He's like, I'm not trying to. Guess I'm a clown to you then. And I was like, yeah, I think you dropped your red nose. And then later that night, it was like around 10, I think. I was watching Twilight. This is the irony. He sends me a snap and I open it like an hour later, right? And he's like, where you at? And I'm like, I'm at home where I should be. And then he's like, wrong, you should be with me. And I'm like, oh yeah, why is that? He's like, because you're my boo. And I'm like,
when was this established?
That's what I said. happened. I tell my friend what's going on, right? He's like, oh my god, let me help you size him up, and so you can just like leave him hanging. And I was like, bet. So me and him teamed up, you know, like the Transformers do at the end. He was like, be like, oh, is that so? And then I'm like, a little stronger. We need to spice it up a little bit. Let's go all out. I said some cringy shit. I sent this, not him. I was like, you owe your boo kisses, you need to pay up. And I was sending those messages that I had decided. I'm like, you know what, since you keep fucking bothering me with the same shit, I'm gonna play your game. I'm gonna just size you up, bring you to the sky, and then let you fall. Just like Lucifer from the sky.
Remind me not to fuck with you.
So I'm like, you messed with the wrong one. That's what happened. After I said that, he replies like quick, and he's like, I drive wherever to you just to give them to you right now. Kissy face. I'm like, okay, what do I say, sir? And he's like, well, do you want to feed his ego on the romantic side or the horny side? And I'm like, everything.
Both.
We go big or go home,
We do
sweetie. Both. And then he's like, you're horrible, but I love it. Let's keep going. And I'm like, okay. And she said, okay. And then I said, oh, you're so sweet, but I'm sure there's more you can do. And then I sent that, and he replied quick. This man was thirsty. And he replies, he's like what, boo? With like an exclamation point and like a question mark. I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm trying to see if you can use your imagination.
He think he got it. He said, oh, I'm gonna get laid tonight.
And I'm like,
that's how I feel.
here's where it gets real juicy, y'all.
Oh.
So he replies after I say the imagination thing, and he's like, I can, but I don't want to say something and you think I'm not a gentleman or I'm disrespectful, so give me permission to talk to you some type of freaky first. And I'm just like, I'm like, it's in the bag.
He's like, give me permission.
Keep in mind, this whole time it's like 11 something at this point, and my dad's room is right next to mine, and the fact that I had to hold in my laugh. And then my friend was like, say this, maybe I like someone who can do both without asking. He replies and he's like, things can get freaky real quick. I didn't know how to reply to that, so because my friend were trying to figure it out. And then my friend sent me one. I was like, no, that's not good. And then he sent another like text real quick. He sent a picture of his arm like this. He's like, that's where you need to be right now. And I was just like,
man, I can't.
Back to the whole Prince Charming thing. I was like, my Prince Charming didn't come rescue me. And then he was like, I'll come rescue you right now, kissy face, red heart. And my friend was like, oh, he took it way down. We're losing the fire. I'm like, yeah, we gotta add more combustion, more gas.
She said more gas.
I'm like, this is only day one.
Oh,
okay?
there's multiple days.
And I'm just giving him a taste of his own medicine. Who knows how many girls he's done this to?
That's
and
true.
he finally met the wrong one. I'm doing justice for all you girlies. Oh, and then he asked me, he's like, are you working tomorrow? And then my friend was like, just don't reply. I went to sleep. We said goodnight, me and my friend. And then I wake up the next day at like 6:30 to go to work, right? I have 2 snaps, one sent at 3 a.m., one sent at 5, and I have a couple text messages back on iMessage. He basically said goodnight with a question mark at around 11 because like I opened it and I didn't reply. And at 3 a.m. he sent another and he's like, text me when you wake up with like a kissy emoji. I didn't reply. And then my friend was like, oh, homeboy was hurt. And he's like, god damn, man was really the definition of that Daft Punk song. He was up all night to get lucky. Basically, he got kind of dry on iMessage, you know, because I prefer talking to people on iMessage. Like, you have my number for a reason. If I don't have your number, talk to me on Snap or like Instagram. But if other than that, you have my number, talk to me on iMessage. And then my friend was like, it's because you left him starving. I'm like, he might want to eat later tonight. You never know. It was 8:35 p.m. last night. He said, see me tomorrow before work. And I'm like, sweetie, I hate to break it to you, but I value sleep before anything and anyone. I already wake up too early to do slave work. And then he's like, don't slave no more. I'll take care of you. He's like, I need you to become dependent. I need you to depend on these kisses and loving. And I'm like,
oh my god, go to sleep.
At this point, it's like 9:30 p.m. and I'm like, dude, I got good music on and I'm eating tangerines. Let's get it. Let's start slow. Yeah, my friend got a salad, he got a drink, and I had my
we're ready to go.
And I had my music playing. And then he started asking me like when my days off are. So my friend was like, just tell him like you're working overtime because you're going on a trip, which I am, but not till May next month. Back to Home Depot scammer. He's like, oh, what trip? I'm like, Florida. He's like, you're not taking me? And I'm like, I was actually gonna ask you, but slots filled up already. And he's like, wow, fake, go with them, I don't care. I back to my friend, I was like, dude, he's toxic as fuck. And he's like, geez, true color. He's like, homeboy is salty. He's like, why are people so salty? That's manipulation. And then I was like, I feel bad for his next girlfriend.
First of all, also, I love how she doesn't have him saved. She just
because why? There's no point.
She doesn't even like have it's just his number, no name, nothing.
If you want to be saved on my phone, I genuinely like
She fucked with.
have to fuck with you. And I don't fuck with this man. I'm like, you don't even know them. That'd be weird for you with like a laughing emoji. After I said that, he's like, I miss you, best friend. And I'm like, I'm best friend?
He's trying to friend zone you.
And he's like, yes, question mark, with the little like side eyes. And he's like, no, question mark, with the little side eyes. And I'm like, I thought we could have been more, but I see how it is. But of course, bestie, whatever you say. And then he's like, we still can be. What the fuck? He's like, yes, I still want my kisses. I was like, kisses from your best friend? And he's like, that would be like the best thing ever. And I'm like, does it? Well, I do have a few best friends. Maybe I should try it sometime.
Yeah.
And then he's like, maybe I will too sometime.
Go ahead.
And I was like, okay, touche, hun. We playing this game? And he's like, we are.
We are.
And
yeah.
I'm like, and how does it end? I'm curious. And then he's like, with you on top of me while we make out, and I'm grabbing your boot. And then he's like, booty. He said boot. And then my friend's like, lmao, who uses booty? And then he's like, booty. And he said like the shoe emoji.
Wait. You're trying to get, you're trying to, obviously, you're a man, you're trying to get some, right? Yeah, while grabbing your boot. Are we like from like Finding Nemo? He touched the blood. He touched the
Booty. You grab your boots. Damn, wild Sarah. He's like, hide your boots. Wear socks. He's like, he can't grab them if you're not wearing boots. I was like, okay, we need a grand finale. And then I went back and I was like, see, I don't need my imagination to do what I want to do with you. I'm like, pero te dejo so you can imagine. And I'm like, night mi ojitos. And then he's like, what do you want to do with me? Don't be sweet, tell me. And then he's like, also my back hurts. I need you to come give me a massage. Like, seriously, I've been in pain for like a week and a half. And I was just like, good night. This morning at around 4 a.m. he was like, baby girl. And
He was thinking about you at 4 a.m. You got him thinking about you at 4 a.m.
I woke up and I was like, I should be sleeping right now, because honestly I was tired. I wasn't having none of this.
She said,
And he was like, no, come see me, kissy emoji. He's like, actually, I'm gonna come see you. He's like, what's your address? I'm like, oof, I'm on my way to work. And then he's like, what an awful way to start your day. No kisses, nothing. And I'm like, I know, right? I've been deprived. And he's like, you did it to yourself, sadly. And I was like I said, I'm a busy girl. And he's like, it's okay, I understand. I was like, no, but let's get this bread. And he was like, nah, let's get these kisses.
This man is so corny.
That's recent at around 6 a.m. this morning. So
Like, does he actually pull girls like this? Because if he does, sorry, ladies,
those girls are
you guys are some dumbasses. If he...
That was recent today. Like I said, I don't know what's happening tonight. He might hit me up asking me where I'm at. Me and my agent will figure it out. You know who you are. I love you. You came in clutch these past 2 nights, bro. Me and you laughing our asses off at 11:30 p.m. That's a best friend right there.
I'm gonna live my single life through you.
I'm telling you guys, don't let guys play you like this.
Yes.
And if you do, just do what I'm doing.
Do it back.
Do it back. Do it right back. So that was that story time, you guys. That's what happened. And I've dealt with my fair share of guys, but nothing like this.
For real, nothing.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys whenever I see you guys. Bye.